Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over Bad Company 2's maps that are going to be in the Battlefield 2042 portal. The last video we did was under Battlefield 1942, taking a look at Al Alamein and the Battle of the Bulge. Today we're looking at Arica Harbor and Valparaiso that are coming in on Bad Company 2. And before we jump into this, I want to show you some of the images that Battlefield has released to us as far as what the old maps are going to look like coming into the high-res, new updated graphics that Battlefield 2042 is going to have. So this is taking a look at Valparaiso here. It looks stunning compared to the gameplay that I'm going to show you right now as well. We can see we've got Arica Harbor. It looks like they're showcasing the rush gameplay. This was one of the spawn points for the Americans on the rush game mode of Arica Harbor. And you can see they're pushing into the objective, and this is exactly how it went. There were tanks, Humvees, lots of players. Now, the only thing I'm concerned about is, and trust me, I understand that people are able to do custom servers and do whatever they want with the game. We're seeing 64 on 64 as a total player count now, but these games and maps were traditionally made for 16v16. This game was very much pushed on console over PC. PC did have a port, obviously, of the game, but it wasn't quite up to what we see with Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, where we had 32v32 servers. I'm curious how this map is going to work, if it's going to be capped at a 16v16, or are they going to open the map up a little bit to allow players to really customize that experience, maybe make it a bit bigger, or maybe a 32v32 experience, or that full 64v64. Because this map, again, traditionally made for 16v16, is going to be very challenging. So I think one of the most important things talking about these maps is the textures and things that we saw for a game that came out, well over 10 years ago. This game dropped in 2010. And it really shows the gameplay. It feels very bizarre because I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 4 and not being able to strafe, with the A and D keys while shooting and moving or sprinting compared to what you can do in Battlefield 3 and 4 feels very weird. But I mean, for an over 10-year-old game, it honestly aged really well, and I'm really excited to see these two maps. Some of the maps that I really hope that they bring in, though, are definitely going to be Oasis. That was one of my all-time favorite maps in this game, hands down. And the other one was White Pass. This was one of my favorite maps as well. The amount of destruction that would happen on this map is ridiculous. So it's a completely winter map. You have so many different buildings that are able to get blown up. And by the end of the map, you are literally taking C4. You're making your own holes. That way you can dig in and you're not getting blown up. One of the things that made Battlefield Bad Company 2 as well very popular was the amount of destruction they had. They had called Destruction 2.0. So they built off of Bad Company 1's destruction that they had, where whole buildings would be able to crumble and you could die from that, and that would actually be a little indicator, Destruction 2.0, that you died from. I really think that this would be a great opportunity for Battlefield to hopefully get back to that destruction that we want to see in Battlefield 2042, because Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 scaled down the amount of destruction that they had to make it a little more streamlined of an experience and a little bit less frustrating, I think, for the player. Now, is that to say that the entire experience of Bad Company 2 was every single building getting blown up and you had no cover? Sometimes, I mean, a lot of the matches turned out that way, where no buildings would be left, and the sniper class had an opportunity to use a mortar, call for fire, and you would just get a laser designator, hold it for a certain amount of time, and then it would call mortars onto a building. And that would really destroy a lot of buildings on top of the respawn rate of arms that you would get. It was much faster in this game when you would throw down ammo crates as opposed to Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. I think one of the things that made this game really special during the time as well was the fact that the maps felt very well sized for the player count. So you had a 16v16 or 32 total count map where you were able to really do whatever you wanted in that map. You felt that there was enough cover to kind of move around, there were enough buildings, but it wasn't too constricted where it felt like a Call of Duty map, like they were cramming 16 guys on one side, 16 on the other, and we're all meeting in the middle like a Call of Duty map style. It felt very much that you could carve your own path if you needed to. There definitely were pathways, just like any game has, the traditional 3 lanes. But Battlefield, you could carve your own lane if you needed to. And they did a really good job with taking the player count and implementing that on their map size. One of the things that I started to see in Battlefield 3, but a lot more so in Battlefield 4, in my opinion, was that the maps didn't feel like they were efficiently utilized to their advantage, in a sense that I'm going to play Conquest, and there's huge open areas that you can run, which, hey, some people may like that, but sometimes you're playing on a Conquest map on Battlefield 4 and it feels like you're running forever just to get to an objective. As opposed to this game, they did a really good job making the objectives decently close together, but also making it where you will still see enemies and make it an enjoyable experience throughout the entire game and make it feel action-packed. I would like to see if Battlefield 2042 is able to let you constrict maps and where you're able to go. I think that would be a really cool idea, and only taking certain areas that you can do. And that's what Battlefield Bad Company 2, it's what other Battlefields do as well, where they move the play field as you go and rush, and then they take that map, condense it down for a conquest. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that these two maps are only being shown for the initial release of Battlefield Portal. There may be more maps that we get in the future, which I'm really hoping to see them picking from every single Battlefield game. And like I said in the last video, I really hope that Battlefield Portal is something that stays. Something that is continuous as we move along, and it gets continuous updates where we get the new Battlefield past 2042. We still have Portal that'll implement all the 2042 content, and then we have the next game that can come in, and we've got more things to put into that. I think it would be really cool to implement, and I really think that it would add a lot of content for players to be able to utilize and continue the longevity of Battlefield series. Last thing I'll bring up as well is the fact that this game could be a huge pull for many players, aka taking a lot of people from Call of Duty. We've seen this big push and pull from Call of Duty for years, where we had a lot of people, they would play Call of Duty, then they would switch over to Battlefield, and they would do this bouncing back and forth. And that's personally what I did. I did a lot of bouncing back and forth between the games when I was growing up with my PC, as well as with my 360. Playing Battlefield 1942 and then playing the original Call of Duty, I would flip-flop between those two games because they were a lot of fun for me. One thing that we're starting to see is there's a little bit more competition on Call of Duty now. Before, we were seeing Battlefield 5 didn't do nearly as well as DICE and EA wanted it to do. The content production that they had was great, but it was too little, too late at the end of the day for Battlefield 5. Call of Duty was able to stick on the modern train while Battlefield 5 was still in the World War II. And what we ended up seeing was a lot of people switching over to Call of Duty, and where Warzone started to thrive and that Battle Royale. They've already announced that there will not be a Battle Royale mode that people can create. And it almost sounds like they have a game mode that's going to be similar to, if I had to guess, maybe an Escape from Tarkov experience. So for those of you that are wondering what I'm talking about, Battlefield 2042 has a new game mode called Hazard Zone. So Hazard Zone, rumored right now, is a new leak that details more about the Hazard Zone, saying that it's going to be free to play and it's going to take inspiration from Escape from Tarkov. What they have been talking about, and what DICE has come out and said, is that it is going to be, and I quote, I'm quoting from the website, squad up and drop down in the Hazard Zone, an all-new high-stakes multiplayer experience. EA promises more news in coming months as we get moving closer to release. However, popular leaker Tom Henderson says he has details on Hazard Zone and rumored Battlefield Hub. Again, this is all stuff that we can really just take with a grain of salt. We don't know what's actually going to happen, what's going to be released, but it's fun to think about that. It sounds like that it could be a RPG, Escape from Tarkov experience in Battlefield. Now, the high stakes thing, I think that's where people are getting a lot of this idea that if Escape from Tarkov can have some type of realistic depictions of battle, maybe more of a survival element, as well as that high stakes of I want to get my equipment, get out, I think it's going to thrive. I think it's going to be more of like an Escape from Tarkov light, though, because their job at EA DICE is they want to capture as many gamers and consumers as possible to play their games. With this being a free-to-play market, there's probably going to be some transactions in the micro variety that we know and love nowadays in gaming. However, I really think that it could be a great opportunity for Battlefield to grow, and I think it's smart that they are not focusing on a campaign so they can really capture the full consumer of the longevity of Battlefield. Now, it kind of sucks that we're not getting a Battlefield campaign for 2042. However, I really think that the Hazard Zone game mode, the Portal game mode, the regular multiplayer is going to be enough to satisfy a lot of gamers and consumers, and I think that's really what it comes down to. Now, the rumors right now are that it's going to be 100 players to start, as well as a lot of AI soldiers. Again, it sounds similar to Escape from Tarkov right off the bat, but 100 players at the start is pretty crazy. It sounds almost similar to a Battle Royale in a sense. However, they aren't saying that it's a Battle Royale mode yet. They haven't come out and said this is for sure a BR that we are coming out with. But if you take a look at it, it's very similar to what Call of Duty is doing, where Call of Duty has their Warzone, and Call of Duty also has their Black Ops and their Modern Warfare multiplayer experience that feeds into that. And I wonder if we're going to see the same thing happen with Battlefield, where they're able to continue this paid opportunity where you play Battlefield 2042, and then they have the Hazard Zone that is going to be something. Now, the word Hazard Zone almost makes you feel like it sounds like a battle royale. You know, there's always that zone that closes in on you that you don't want to be in. Kills you ultimately if you stay in it for too long, similar to what every single battle royale has out there. So I'm curious if that is what they're going to be kind of pushing, or if it's maybe going to be a hybrid of a battle royale and what Escape from Tarkov does, where it's a very high stakes type of game mode. And maybe they fuse the two together where you take in a loadout into the battle royale. So ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Curious on everybody's thoughts on this? Please leave a comment below. Do you want to see a battle royale in Battlefield, or do you want this game to be more of a traditional multiplayer experience? Have a good one. Take it easy. Stay safe out there, and leave a comment below on your thoughts on this video.
Always whatever, anyway, every time we try to talk high and out, I'll be here any day. It's always something, no, we never ever change. It's just like that. I get the shivers.